Ringo TV. Ringo TV Reactions back at you with another one. Let's listen to this, fam.
Technical. A man is not even supposed to be polygamous unless he is able to financially, energetically, mentally, emotionally, in all realms, provide for multiple women. If you're not going to be able to take care of multiple households by yourself, right? That's pretty much out of the question for you if you want to be technical. Now, I understand we do live in a modern time to where maybe y'all can be in, polygamous relationships and you have the women working as well. And, y'all are collectively coming together as one big happy family and unit, and y'all are all chipping in and providing. But, if you really want to be technical about it all, like the man is supposed to be able to take on all of those different roles and responsibilities for multiple women. And if you can't do that, no, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Now that we heard that, I want to share my commentary and criticism regarding this particular situation where Danica Marie pretty much came out in a video and said something that needs to be talked about. It needs to be talked about because in my eyes, it is rather disturbing because when you really think about men and women dynamic, a woman should not be basically telling men what they can or cannot do when it comes to polygyny. Now, what is polygyny? Polygyny is the union of a man having multiple wives. Polygyny is not polyamory. Polygyny is not poly relationships. What is a poly relationship? A poly relationship consists of a man that date multiple women who are lesbians. This particular union is basically non-biblical because according to the Bible, a woman is not supposed to be with a woman and a man is not supposed to be with a man. But poly relationships is a perverted form of polygamy in terms of a multiple partner type or union where you have different men, you can have different women. It's just perverted. You might have a poly relationship that have two men, one woman. The guy's bisexual, he have a man, and he also have a woman. I need for you to understand that because if not, you will label polygyny as if though it's just like that. In a poly relationship, they have what is known as threesomes, foursomes, fivesomes, whatever sums you have, this is what they do. In a polygyny union between a straight man and straight women, there is no orgies, there is no threesomes, there is no sleeping together in the same bed. We don't do that type of stuff. But in poly relationships, they'll shower together, sleep together, and do everything together because it's a anything goes type of relationship. Now that we got that out the way, I need for everybody to understand something. A man is a man. We cannot come on social media and say, well, technically, as if though she has some sort of authority on what a man should or shouldn't be doing. The reason why this is dangerous, and if Danica is listening, I hope that you learned something from this. You cannot say technically anything without having the authority on where you got the info from. In other words, if I were to ask Danica, where did you get the information that says technically what a man should or shouldn't be doing when it comes to polygyny? What are you going to tell me? You can't tell me your opinion. You can't tell me how you feel because that's not going to be good. You have to have a source by which all knowledge and information come from. Because if you look throughout society, men has always had multiple wives, and it had nothing to do about how much money they had. It had nothing to do with how many women they can afford. It had nothing to do with any of these things that we deem necessary for a man to practice polygyny. And I think that that is very important because it's very dangerous to say that over a platform. I mean, you have the right to pretty much do whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, if women hear you say that, what they're going to get in their mind is a man have to make a certain amount of money in order to have all of these women. When we know in this culture that's not even true, because even if a man have a lot of money, women are still not on board with the program because in their mind they believe that they own the man. And this is a problem. This is a major problem. And this is why we have to address this, because a man's dollar or a man's wallet should never indicate what he can or can't do when it comes to the women in whom he chooses to make his wives. We live in a culture where women are pretty much following hypergamy, where they're all after the same guy, the top tier guy. We also have women who are feminists. Feminism has actually destroyed this culture. It has caused our women to only focus on money. They don't see any value in men. If a man make less money, he is considered a lame. He's considered a joke. And this is the culture we live in. This is exactly what we are going through in today's society. So when I see comments from her saying that technically a man have to be able to provide for a woman entirely, and if he can't do that, then it's not for him. That's false. Because when you really think about it, if we can back up a little bit and talk about more points, women in this culture have been having babies. That's right. Not only babies, but multiple partners, sexual partners, for decades. And these women are not married to none of these men. These women are having babies out of wedlock. These women are doing all sorts of things. And it's amazing that with all of the things that women do, we don't hear no pushback on women, that women are out here having babies out of wedlock, that women are out here making bad choices. We don't ask women, can you afford to have all of these kids? We don't hear women saying, you got 3 kids already. You pregnant again. Can you really afford this child? Why would you want to bring another child in the world if you can't afford a child? Nobody says that because the government take care of the child or child support takes care of the child. But if a man choose to have more than one wife, he gets shamed into, oh, you're not economically there yet, so technically, it's not for you. No. So in this particular case, Danica is actually wrong, respectfully. She even went into various other details in which we're going to get into a little later in this particular broadcast. But I want you to all understand that women are not supposed to be telling you guys what you can or can't do when it comes to women. Both women and men in this society are wicked as heck. And it is a major, major problem. This is why I try to do content that actually resonate with people in all walks of life. Because if we don't properly give people the information, what we're going to do is create more problems. And what I've saw with her particular video, primarily that particular section where she was talking about friend zone and she was talking about multiple wives and X, Y, and Z and how men are pretty much getting with these women and women are sharing men. There's a lot of problems with this because we're always focusing on money. And this is one of the downfalls of our culture. She talked about how her man is not really technically into having multiple wives because for whatever reason, he don't have the energy to pretty much deal with multiple personalities. And it's almost as if though she was trying to paint this picture as if though because he's not technically interested in that, then, it's something that men should consider, while at the same time saying that if a man is not technically economically able to provide for all of his wives, that polygyny is not for him. And I find that to be a little, it simply contradicts itself, because you're saying that if a man can't afford, and I'm trying to figure out, if a man can't afford to have multiple wives, why do women have multiple kids? Why do women have multiple kids in whom they can't afford? And truth be told, the reason why we know they can't afford them is because they put men on child support, or they go to the government so the government can provide them with food stamps and public assistance, and you name it. Women have access to all of these particular programs that give them access to various resources. Men, we don't have that luxury. We don't have the luxury of going to the government to say, oh, we're struggling, we're hungry. The most a man can possibly do is probably go to a shelter. But other than that, we're going to be treated like trash by society. So I want to get into more particular points to further have this conversation, because as men, we cannot allow society to control our manhood when it comes to us dealing with women. Some guys will want women as multiple wives to bring forth babies. Some guys want these women around for companionship. Some guys have these women around to help in support of building empire and so on and so forth. There's various reasons for having multiple wives. But one thing that I find to be rather disturbing about the topic is that you would have women saying stuff that we as men are not allowed or shouldn't be practicing polygyny if we can't afford a woman in terms of taking care of her. So I have a question for you ladies. Are you for sale? And are you jobless? Because the way we get this message from Danica is as if though your job as a woman is just to sit on your tail while we just take care of everything and you don't do anything. And that's not how a relationship is. Polygyny is not about a man having a bunch of women inside of a house or a bunch of women in multiple houses while y'all just do nothing. That's not polygyny. And this is the problem. See, in my recent videos, I talked about how if a woman is not on your purpose, you got to get rid of her. So why would a man practice polygyny, gather a bunch of women who are not supporting his purpose? They're not working with the brother in terms of working for him. Why would a man subject himself to that kind of abuse of taking care of a woman, providing his resources, food, shelter, clothing, medical, you name it, insurance, policies? This brother got everything for this woman, but yet she's not supporting what he's doing. Why would a man even do that? It would make no sense. But this, again, is the culture we live in. Whereas men, we're just taught that we're supposed to do all these things while women don't do anything. Women don't do anything for us. They add no value to us, but we're supposed to be making millions of dollars to provide everything that women need. And I think that that's wrong. I think that it's a bad seed that's planted. And this is why I have to do this particular video, because it's something that is very, very serious. And I don't like the way that video came off. And I'm primarily talking about the section about polygamy, polygyny, whatever you want to call it. As men, your birthright is to have multiple wives, multiple concubines. Pretty much, your job is just to go out there and get the pick of the litter. It is what it is. This culture is satanic and perverted. Women are wanting control over you. And that's the biggest problem that you guys must understand. Women are not like the women of biblical days. These women today are all feminists, and they fall under a category where they're being trained. They're learning feminism in schools. They're learning how to be breadwinners. They're learning how to be their own providers. So consequently, they're disqualifying themselves from even being a wife. So technically, it is not about you having to have a bunch of money in order to provide for all these women. These women are providing for themselves already. All you guys are going to be doing in today's culture, because of feminism, because of hypergamy, because of the independent woman, you're just going to pretty much be sleeping around with different women. And in the process, these women may end up getting pregnant. And whatever happens after that is up to you in terms of the women you deal with. This is why you have to tread lightly when it comes to dealing with women in today's culture, and primarily focus on your goals, your calling, the thing that you do best. Because if not, you may end up getting with a woman that's going to take you for a ride. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this particular situation. I just want you guys to pretty much hear from me my thoughts on the situation so that you can gather more intel. So let's listen to some more of her video so that we could pretty much break this thing down even further. Let's get into it.